Trojan Felly, what's up, man? USCJ here. It's the top of the morning. I hope everybody is getting ready to get up, get out, and make some things happen this morning. Listen, is true freshman Desman Stephens the next great linebacker? Man, listen, there were some things that I heard D'Anton Lynn mention about him yesterday in reference to his ability and, his growth, his development since he's been here. Basically, he's talked about him, how it's been night and day since he's been here, how fast he's essentially developed. And we'll take a look at some film real quick on Desman Stephens, because you guys know when we talked about that 2024 class, some of the guys that came in, of course, Cam Fountain, Elijah Newby, Braylon Conley, Desman Stephens was one of those guys that we actually said that, look, he's going to be one of those guys that's a fast rising guy, a guy that we had a lot of potential, really could have went anywhere, a 4-star. You guys remember, he could have went to Michigan, he could have went anywhere. And being from the state of Michigan, that kid is absolutely looking like a Big Ten style linebacker. So let's take a look at him real quick. So as you see here, this is Desman Stephens, and just notice his movement, notice how his ability to read coverage, and the fact that I want you guys to see it. I'm going to run it back. But the fact that he dropped back in coverage like that and was able to read, he played the linebacker position very, very well. Notice here, I want you guys to see this. Notice how he dropped back, but then he used his hands. You guys know Desman Stephens was a big-time running back. He could catch. He could do it all. He could drop back, sideline to sideline, lateral movement. Desman Stephens is that guy. I'm very impressed. I think Desman Stephens has a high ceiling. And look, I want you guys to listen to what D'Anton Lynn said, but Desman Stephens had the highest rating of linebackers from this past week. And mind you, that's all linebackers for week 7. Desman Stephens posed a 92 PFF grade, and as a result, this kid was absolutely shining on the defense. So when you're talking about a star on defense, I think it's a guy like Desman Stephens. But I want you guys to listen to some of the things that D'Anton Lynn had to say in reference to him. I got some news and note items we want to touch on as well. Some of the things that Joe Clark said, and then Jakeem Stewart update. But listen to what Coach D'Anton Lynn had to say about Desman. Coach Lynn said that he's going to keep on growing. He's going to keep on getting snaps each game. But look, man, I think we can see him. And look, here's the thing. I got a question for you guys. Should it matter if a player is a true freshman or senior or whatever? Do we stay loyal to the seniors, or do you play the best players? I mean, here's my opinion. I think Desman Stephens is one of those guys, possibly could have been out there, and we see now that Eric Gentry's hurt. Of course, Eric Gentry, I think he's by far been our best player, period. But Desman Stephens is probably one of those players that we probably already could have seen out there this year. You guys can hit me in the comments. You guys can tell me what you think about that. But that's something that comes to mind. But I'm very impressed what I see with Desman Stephens. Now, a lot of people they probably didn't like what Joe Clark said, but shout out to Joe Clark. Yesterday, I was listening to his podcast, and he was talking about USC. He picked the top 5 teams he felt in the Big Ten. And of course, you see it here: Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana, and USC. Now, I know it's probably touching and rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, and he stated that. He said, but look, he said, when you look at USC, he said, the reason I did that, even though Michigan beat them, even though Minnesota beat them, he said, basically, he said, this team really lost. And you guys know I've been bringing you this information already, but he said this team only lost by, they were up ahead of everybody, 7 points. He said, but they lost at the last play of the game. Basically, they could have beat anybody. And he said any given Saturday, he thinks either of these teams could beat either one of them. And I got to agree with him, man. You guys know, and this is all these lost in the sauce fans that think that this USC team is not good. It's been like some very, very unfortunate things. And of course, I think Joe Clark recognizes that, they're not going to, he's probably not going to say it, but he recognized the fact that, look, man, we watch some of these games. We see these crazy holding calls, the referees, and some of the stuff that USC had to deal with. They know that USC could beat any one of these teams. And, contrary to a popular belief, and I agree with Joe Clark. And so, it's a big shout out to him for really acknowledging the fact that USC, this is his top 5 Big Ten teams. And look, If we run it back with Penn State, I believe we could beat them. We had them on the ropes. All we had to do was execute. You guys know that. We played it the way we played it, and it is what it is. So look, man, you guys can hit me in the comments. You guys can tell me what you think. I got a brief recruiting news that we want to talk about real quick. All right, Jakeem Stewart, you guys know he reclassified. We talked about him. And look, he is getting ready. He announced, according to Rivals here, that December 4th, he will make a commitment. Now, it's extremely important. He has 3 official visits lined up before he makes that commitment. And we'll take a look at that. Marshall Livingston from On3 actually posted this information as to the 3 official visits that he will be taking, and as well as the games that he will be attending. Let's take a look at that real quick. All right, so here is Marshall Livingston from On3, and here he says here, 5-star Jakeem Stewart has 3 OVs remaining, all big-time matchups: LSU versus Alabama, USC versus Nebraska, and Ohio State versus Michigan. And so, look, man, we got to continue to perform and really start executing and really try to win these games, because at the end of the day, I think he's going to pay attention to that. And yes, we do have a young defensive line. And look, USC can absolutely, you see, we got guys like Floyd Boucard. Elijah Griffin is still on the radar. And there's a few other guys. But look, USC has an opportunity to move and groove in that direction that we need to be, man. So look, hit me in the comments. You guys tell me what you think. It's USCJ32 on Instagram, USCJ32 on Twitter. Let me know, what are your thoughts on Desman Stephens? How you feeling about him? Is he that next great linebacker for USC? I'm out of here. Until later on, everybody stay blessed. Fight on, fight on, fight on.